Carbon's Quest, a production brought to you by the LEGO Avengers.
LEGO Avengers, LEGO shoot stars.
Once upon a time, in the land of Elementa, there lived a Hydra in a den. Hydra in a den for hydrogen.
Every day he had to eat a little atom of an element to heal himself and keep himself alive. Heal himself for helium.
He would fly over the village, and lifting them up, he took them to his lair to eat them in a yummy stew, lifting them for lithium.
Then he would bury some of them to eat later with a buffalo dipping sauce. Bury some for beryllium. One day he was bored of eating silver atoms and decided to get an atom of carbon instead. Bored of for boron.
Now, in the village of non-metals, there lived a little atom named Carbon. Carbon wasn't very big, but he was smart. Carbon for carbon.
One evening, a knight rode in to discuss things with Lord Platinum about the Hydra. Carbon, being curious, snuck in after him. Knight rode in for nitrogen.
The knight told the Lord that the Hydra was stealing many oxen, animals, gold, and atoms, and must be stopped. Oxen for oxygen.
Carbon went up to the Lord and asked if he could try to defeat the Hydra. The Lord chuckled, but said yes. He gave Carbon a Lord's ring that would make him invisible and send him off. Lord's ring for fluorine. Carbon stopped back home to get what he'd need on the journey. A sword, some bananas. He loved bananas. Some potions, and a map. Then he was off. Neon for neon.
Before he left town, however, he asked some of his friends if they wanted to help. But each one said, "Nah, that's so dumb and dangerous. You'll get killed." So he went alone. Sodium for sodium.
The next morning, he followed the map to the Tungsten Pass, but some thieves ambushed him, trying to get him by using magnets on him. Luckily, he was a non-metal and easily escaped and continued on. Magnets on him for magnesium.
Next, he went through the caverns of Dubnium. It was very dark, so he had to use the fiery torch to illuminate the cave. Illuminate for aluminum.
When he was almost out of the cave, he thought he heard something behind him. He turned around, but there wasn't anything. "That's silly, Carbon," he said to himself. "Just need some rest, that's all." So he continued on. Silly Carbon for silicon. Then he saw it again. It was behind him quickly. "That's preposterous," he said nervously. "Nothing's there. Preposterous for phosphorus."
He traveled out of the cave and saw the Hydra's den on a mountaintop, but it was so far away. So far for sulfur.
So Carbon rode his bike through the low reeds on the way to the mountains. Low reeds for chlorine.
Then he began to climb up the mountain. He looked down and saw that his bike was all gone for argon.
With his potassium sword at ready, he tiptoed into the dark Hydra's den. Potassium for potassium. Suddenly he froze. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 red eyes were staring at him. The Hydra's heads can all see him. Can all see him for calcium.
The Hydra got up, roared, and tried to stomp on him. Stomp on him for scandium.
Carbon dodged, but the Titan picked him up in his claws and put him in his mouth. Titan for titanium.
Quickly, Carbon took his banana and stuffed it in his face. The Hydra, who hated banana, spit it out and dropped Carbon. Banana for vanadium.
Quickly, Carbon tried to stab him, but the Hydra had scales of chromium. Chromium for chromium. Then Carbon had an idea. He slipped on his Lord ring and grabbed some of the Hydra's dipping sauce and added some geese. Everyone knows Hydras are allergic to geese. Added some for manganese.
Then he threw the sauce into the Hydra's mouth and ran for his life as he yelled, "I earned the right to live! I earned for iron!"
The Hydra had an allergic reaction and rushed to the Drake and Beast hospital down the road. Carbon then opened the Hydra's vault for cobalt.
In there are enough nickels to buy 5 candy bars for every atom in Elementia. Nickels for nickel.
Then Carbon returned home with all his nickels, copper coins, and gems that he found and celebrated with the Lord, while the Hydra sat in the hospital for the rest of his life. Copper for copper.
The end. The end for zinc.
Or is it?
After his victory over the Hydra, Carbon became a gallant knight. Gallant for gallium.
One day, Carbon was called to Germany to help the kingdom of Nibia. Germany for germanium.
He had to find the authentic Holy Grail in the Silver Valley, authentic for arsenic.
Carbon traveled over the mountain of Eversnow, sometimes sledding on them for selenium.
On the way, he traveled around the broken mines, which collapsed a long time ago. Broken mines for bromine.
Halfway there, Carbon had to go through a crypt on a marsh. Krypton for cryptium.
Near Tombstone, he saw some glittering rubies. He paused to pick one up. Rubies for rubidium.
Roaming around were some very strong wolves and their cubs. It looked like they were guarding the rubies. Strong for strontium.
Yet there were trees around him for him to escape. Carbon ran for his life. Yet trees him for yttrium.
Suddenly, a man burst through the clearing, running for his life. It was Zirconium. Zirconium for zirconium.
Carbon had been told that he would receive help on the way. This man must be from Nidium. Nidium from Niobe.
Suddenly, a mighty demon lashed out at Zirconium and Carbon. Mighty demon for molybdenium.
The demon dashed towards them. Well, technically he flew towards them. Technically for technetium.
The demon attacked ruthlessly, trying to pound them. Ruthlessly for ruthenium.
To escape from him, Zirconium and Carbon rode on the wolves as fast as they could go. Rode on for rhodium.
As they rode on the wolves to the Silver Forest, Zirconium explained that he had to defeat a siren for his king and became a paladin. And Carbon told his story of the Hydra. Paladin for palladium.
Then, as they crested a hill, Carbon saw the Silver Valley. Silver for silver.
In the valley there were the ruins of the Wizard Academy, where a large explosion happened caused by Steve. Academy for cadmium.
In them, they found a staircase leading deep down. In them for India.
When Carbon looked closer, it seemed that the stairs were made of tin. Tin for tin.
At the bottom, he found a dragon skeleton with an old enemy. On top of the pile of treasure, Antium for antimony.
Scanning the pile, he saw the grail. I see it, Carbon did tell to him for tellurium.
Scrambling up the dime, nickel, and gem tower, he snatched the grail and jumped down. The dime for iodine.
Then on his way out, Zirconium drew his sword, saying, "This grail shall be mine." Then on for Xenon.
The armed soldiers jumped out of nowhere, yelling, "Seize him! Seize him!" for cesium.
Carbon tried to run, but the soldiers barred him for barium.
One soldier tried to thrust his lance at him, which Carbon easily avoided. Lance at him for lithanium.
His only way to escape was to use his cherry bomb, which blinded the soldiers and he slipped away and ran. Cherry bomb for cerium.
Then Carbon gave the Lord the relic. The Lord praised him, and bringing it and discovering Zirconium's betrayal, praised him for prosadium.
Then Carbon lived happily ever after, at least until his king needed him in the war against Nibium. needed him in for neodymium.
The end.